He was like, yeah, because he wanted these shoes. Like, so see these sneakers. I was like, this sneaker was $6,000. What are you talking about? We're gonna pay like what are you gonna do? Mow lawns? Like, you got $6,000? He's like, we have the money. I was like, I have the money. You're broke.
Ben Affleck just slammed the brakes on Hollywood parenting by telling his 13-year-old son he's flat out broke. Not poor, not struggling, broke. And the reason? A $6,000 pair of sneakers. It all started like any typical moment between a parent and child. No cameras, no crew. Just Ben Affleck and his 13-year-old son, Samuel, having a regular conversation. But then came the request, a big one. Samuel asked for a pair of Dior Air Jordan 1s.
We were talking in the makeup room before the show about this clip that went viral of you with your son, and he was
obsessed with this.
Looking at these sneakers, which were an absurdly high price, and he wanted them. And you had the best line, which I plan to use, which is, "I'm rich, you're not."
Not your average sneakers. These were luxury kicks that originally hit the market for $2,000, but skyrocketed in resale value to nearly $6,000. That's right, $6,000 for shoes. In most households, that kind of ask would be laughed off. But in the Affleck household, it turned into a moment that would go viral. Ben didn't lose his temper. He didn't raise his voice. Instead, he stared straight at his son and dropped a reality bomb. I have the money. You're broke. No sugarcoating. No coddling, just the brutal, unfiltered truth.
As far as I know, you don't have to lend me $5,000. Right. You got nothing. So it's like, listen, you love your kids, you want to give them everything and do everything for them, but I think you definitely do them a disservice by like not connecting. You want something meaningful that you want.
Yeah.
You have to work for that. That goes with it.
For a second, Samuel was stunned. His jaw almost hit the floor. It wasn't just the denial that hit hard. It was what it meant. The glitz and glam of growing up with movie star parents didn't exempt him from learning what it means to earn something. Affleck didn't follow up with a soft maybe later or a we'll see. He left the message hanging in the air like a sledgehammer. Samuel was asking for something wildly expensive, assuming access came with his last name. Instead, he got a reality check.
Do your kids work? I mean, is that something that you fostered?
My oldest two have jobs. In fact, one just got a job, and one like the kind of classic, teenager working in a shop job. I won't say what it is.
This wasn't a lesson in discipline. It was a moment of transformation. That one sentence shattered the illusion that money would always be handed to him. Suddenly, the designer shoes weren't just footwear. They became a symbol of effort, work, and sacrifice. And the power of that moment, it didn't stay within the walls of their home. When Affleck later shared the story publicly, it struck a nerve. Parents applauded, teens blinked, and Samuel, in the quiet aftermath, was left staring at an empty spot on his shoe rack, one that wouldn't be filled until he figured out how to earn it himself. Affleck didn't just drop that truth bomb at home and move on. He doubled down in front of the entire country.
My older one who's in college is working and trying to get an internship for the summer and stuff. And yeah, my son who's 13, he's reckoning with that reality right now. As he's looking at no shoes in his closet, thinking about, well, he got shoes, just no like crazy expensive fancy shoes. I'm like, well, if you want that.
Yeah.
During a live appearance on NBC's Today with Jenna and Friends, he held nothing back. With cameras rolling and the nation watching, he broke down exactly how he sees parenting in a world where excess is the norm. He looked straight into the camera and told America, if his son wanted those $6,000 sneakers, he'd need to earn every single dollar. Mow lawns, flip burgers, work 1,000 hours at minimum wage, he said, stone-faced. No smirk, no punchline.
You can work 1,000 hours.
I mean, seriously.
You know what I mean? Like at minimum wage.
How
and
many
once you work
babysitting
1,000 hours,
gigs?
you might not want to spend that on a pair of sneakers,
Exactly.
This wasn't a Hollywood soundbite. It was a declaration of values. And you could feel the tension in the studio. The audience didn't laugh. The host sat still. Because it wasn't meant to be funny, it was meant to wake people up. Affleck painted a vivid picture of what real work looks like. He laid out the math. At minimum wage, those shoes would cost months of labor, blistered hands, and long shifts on tired feet. And then he added the real kicker.
Like 8?
8.5. That's incredible. Ben's like, no.
That's a lot of lawns you gotta mow there.
a lot of lawns.
Once you work 1,000 hours, you may not even want to spend that on a pair of sneakers. That line hit like a freight train. It wasn't about denying his son a luxury item, it was about forcing him to think about what money really means, to attach effort to value, to understand that every dollar should come with weight. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner have been in the public eye for decades, but when it comes to raising their children, they've taken a very different route, one that's far from the flash and noise of Hollywood. Their parenting choices aren't made for headlines or social media applause. There are no staged photo ops, no carefully crafted image campaigns, just a real, intentional commitment to raising grounded kids in a world that constantly tempts them with the opposite. Over Easter weekend, the two were spotted together. Not at some A-list event, but simply spending time as a family. No paparazzi stunts, no designer wardrobes coordinated for a press-ready moment.
Ben, favorite sneaker of all time?
You know, you can't just pick just one. It's day to day.
He loves the De La Souls.
De La Souls, the SBs, I do like them.
Okay, cool. Listen, Ben's not picking there. De La Souls, that's a good pick.
Just two parents, co-parenting the way real people do, behind closed doors, in the quiet moments that don't make the tabloids. That's what makes this story so powerful. It wasn't built in a press room. It was built in conversations around the dinner table, in tough decisions made when no one was watching. These weren't rehearsed talking points for a talk show. They were lived values, shared beliefs, and the result? It's catching fire. Fast. What started as a simple story about saying no to designer sneakers has become a blueprint for how celebrity families can do better, how they should do better. The public's paying attention because it feels real. While other celebrity kids are showing off private jets on TikTok or flexing luxury bags they didn't buy, the Affleck-Garner kids are working registered jobs and building resumes.
These are a pair from '85. You obviously were in the Air movie. What do you think of these?
These are amazing. This is great. A little piece of history right here.
Right. Have any pairs of 1985s? I feel like that's one to try to add to your collection at some point. Well, back in the day, yeah.
It's not glamorous, but that's the point. It's a reminder that real parenting happens far from the red carpet. And when it's done right, it doesn't just raise kids, it changes the conversation. In that moment, Affleck transformed from actor to father to social commentator, and the entire energy of the room shifted. This wasn't just about shoes, it was about a cultural reset. The silence that followed wasn't awkward, it was respectful, because whether you loved or hated what he said, you couldn't deny one thing. Ben Affleck meant every word. But what happened next wasn't just surprising, it was rare, especially in Hollywood. Ben Affleck's message didn't bounce off his kids like so many celebrity lessons often do. It landed, and not just with Samuel. His two daughters, Violet and Serafina, didn't roll their eyes or shrug it off. They took it seriously. They acted. Violet, now in college, didn't rely on her dad's fame to coast through campus life. She locked in a part-time job on her own, and she's already scouting for summer internships, not red carpets or studio gigs.
If anyone says the Afflecks aren't real sneakerheads, they're lying. I have the
Before
proof.
there was fucking, it was just like those shoes came out when we were kids.
There's no such thing as a
I'm
sneakerhead.
old enough to remember.
Real-world experience, applications, interviews, the grind. And Serafina? She's only 16, but already pulling her weight in the most grounded way possible. She took up a job that thousands of teens across the country work every year. No flashy perks, just a register, a uniform, and a boss who doesn't care about her last name. Cleaning up after customers, stocking shelves, dealing with rude shoppers and long shifts. It's the kind of humble hustle most people wouldn't expect from the child of a millionaire movie star. Affleck didn't try to hide it. He talked about it openly on national television. During his Today interview, he didn't just hint at it, he confirmed it. One just got a job, he said. Classic teenager stuff. That quiet pride in his voice said it all. These weren't publicity stunts. They weren't doing it for social media clout. They were doing it because that's how they were raised. To work, to learn, to earn. In a world where celebrity kids are often handed everything, Violet and Serafina are doing the opposite. They're building from the ground up, just like Affleck intended. Ben Affleck's fortune is the kind of wealth most people can only dream about.
Yeah, dude, that's so sick.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, that shows you've been a sneaker guy
You
forever.
should get these and give them to Uncle Casey.
Is that Casey you're
That's
saying?
Casey, yeah.
Casey Affleck in 1984, we're in Chicago.
With a net worth hovering around $150 million, he could easily give his kids anything they want. Luxury cars at 16, designer wardrobes by the truckload, private jets on standby. But he's made a deliberate, uncompromising choice. He won't. There are no golden credit cards waiting in their wallets, no unlimited allowances, no surprise gifts wrapped in Chanel or Gucci. If his kids want that kind of lifestyle, they're going to have to grind for it. Affleck isn't just preaching, it's policy in his house, and he made that policy public on live television. Sitting across from Jenna Bush Hager and Andy Cohen, Affleck didn't flinch when he said, "You do kids a disservice by not teaching them they have to work." He didn't dress it up or cushion it for TV. It was raw, clear, and it cut straight through the noise. The internet didn't just notice, it exploded. That single line ricocheted across social media platforms within hours. Clips of the moment racked up views by the millions. Parents reposted it with nods of agreement. Teens debated it. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds over entitlement and effort. But Affleck didn't say it to go viral. He said it because he believes it. He's seen the downside of fame, the hollow privilege, the burnout, the identity crises. And he's not about to let his children become casualties of comfort. His stance goes deeper than tough love. It's a philosophy rooted in self-respect and resilience. Money can give you options, yes, but values? That's earned the hard way. And in Affleck's house, no matter how big the bank account is, those values come first. This story may have started with a pair of overpriced sneakers, but it's become something much bigger. It's a cultural shift, one that challenges the way celebrity parenting is usually done. Ben Affleck isn't just saying no to a luxury item, he's saying no to the system that tells rich kids they're entitled to everything without effort. In an industry that thrives on image, excess, and instant gratification, Affleck is flipping the entire script. He's not interested in raising children who live off his spotlight. He wants to raise adults who can stand on their own, even if the world knows their last name. By refusing to indulge his son's $6,000 request, Affleck is doing something radical in Hollywood. He's making fame mean less than character. He's pushing the spotlight off the red carpet and turning it inward, onto lessons that matter, like patience, grit, and hard-earned reward. He's showing that wealth doesn't have to breed entitlement, it can build humility if you choose to use it that way, and Hollywood is watching. Because Affleck didn't whisper his views behind closed doors, he broadcasted them, boldly, unapologetically, on national television. His words weren't wrapped in PR spin or softened by fame. They were sharp, real, and impossible to ignore. And for every parent who's tried to instill work ethic in a world full of shortcuts, it felt like a rally cry. Now, the next time a celebrity kid steps into a designer store with dreams of a $6,000 sneaker haul, they might want to think twice. In this new playbook, they're not getting the shoes unless they've got something more than a last name. They're going to need a resume,